Hello class. Today we will begin with the first chapter of Business Studies book first, Nature and Significance of Management. While doing this chapter, we will learn various concepts like the concept of management, the characteristics of management, the various objectives of management, why is management important or needed, the nature of management, whether it is an art or science. Is it recognized as a full-fledged profession? If not, why? Then, the various levels involved in management, the functions which are a part of management, which makes it a process, and the very essence of management known as coordination. So, that was the learning outcome of this chapter. To begin with, let me make you understand what is management. Dear children, today in this session we will be developing an understanding about the functions of management. Children, you must remember that when we define management, we call it as a process of getting things done with the aim of achieving goals effectively and efficiently. So when we call management a process, the reason is that a process involves a series of steps which makes it a process. Similarly, management involves a series of functions, namely planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling, which are interrelated and interconnected. And as these are the functions management perform to get the things done, the presence of these functions make management a process involving a series of continuous functions, where the primary function or the first function or the first step of the process is the planning function, which is a futuristic process wherein we forecast the future or try to anticipate some activities and set our plans, and in accordance to the plans that we set, we try to develop a way of achieving those plans effectively and efficiently. Then, moving next after planning comes the time to organize and allocate the resources, which we do through the organizing function. Once we decide about the functions that we need to do or the duties that we need to assign, then we also group those duties and judge the requirement of the resources for getting the goals that we have set in planning. Then comes the time to ensure that through staffing, we try to find the right person for the right job. Children, when you say finding the right person for the right job, it in itself gives you the basic concept where you can identify that the requirement for each job varies because the qualification, skills, or experience that you need for doing a job would vary depending on the nature of job that you are assigning to somebody. Say, for example, if it is a software company and it is publishing job interviews, it would definitely need people who have a background of qualification in the field of software technology, isn't it? Similarly, say for example, if it is a real estate company wanting people to assist them in construction, they would need people with qualification of civil engineering. If it is a law firm wanting new people to join in, obviously it would look forward for people who are qualified in the field of legal studies. So that's what staffing does. Staffing tries to fill in the positions created in the organization with the right person depending on the job. That means for the right job, it should be the right person. Once we come to this stage where we already are aware about the plans and we have set our goals, then we have already organized the resources, created the job positions, and also created the authority responsibility relationships. We come to staffing as a function whereby through staffing process we hire the right person for the right job. All these things now lead to the crucial function of directing, which initiates action. That means here comes the function of management, which executes the plans and which implements the plan. And this is one function which involves four elements, including supervision, motivation, leadership, and communication, that we will be discussing in detail in the slides to come. And the next function of management is controlling, which ensures that whatever we do through directing with regard to the plans which is already set and the resources available and the people who have joined you as human resource through staffing, controlling ensures that all these activities are moving ahead in conformation with the plan as set in the first function, that is planning. So controlling focuses on meeting the standard of performance that you have already decided while planning to ensure that you achieve your goals effectively and efficiently. Let's now move to the next slide. So to discuss the first function, planning, children, this is the primary function of management because without this function, no other function can be persuaded. So the first function definitely comes up to be planning, and as it is the first function, called as a primary function, and it means deciding in advance what to do, how to do, when to do, and who is to do. It is an intellectual function because through this function, we put in our mind and intellect to decide what should be the ideal goal for us. If we are a beginner, we'll have different goals. If we are already existing in the field and facing competition, we can have different goals. So depending on the nature of business you are in and the stage of business you are in, the goals that you set will be different. That's why it is an intellectual function. Similarly, how you will do it, when you will do it, and who will be the responsible person to get it done, all these key factors are decided in the primary function of management called planning. Then comes the function of organizing, which basically gives you a clue about what kind of structure do you have in your organization, where what kind of duties you want to assign and that to whom. This actually provides a business with all the set of resources it needs for its useful functioning. It defines a framework. When you say framework, it decides about the relationship between the employees in terms of the duties that they do. The duties that a person handles entitles him to be responsible for doing that task, and for him to ensure that he is able to fulfill his responsibility, he is also given some authority. So through organizing, we give authority as well as responsibility to people so that they can continue working in a manner where they are making the business achieve its goal effectively and efficiently. Children, these two terms would go parallel to explaining each term because it makes sense with every function of management, because we need to be both efficient as well as effective at the same time. So through organizing, what you do, you utilize your resources. uh, After identifying them, you assign duties to them, and you also divide the job in a manner where it is manageable. And this, when at the very beginning you're dividing your job in a justified manner where you can, you know, distribute the responsibility and also assign authority to people so that they can overcome their responsibility, thereby you are ensuring both the efficiency of operation and the effectiveness of results through organizing. Once this is done, then we move forward to staffing, which is related with the very thought of finding the right people for the right job. Children, it deals with manning the organization. See, you already develop a structure through organizing where you create positions, where you assign duties, where you give people responsibility and empower them with authority. So it is through staffing that you try to fill those positions. So staffing ensures that you get the right person for the right job, and it includes recruitment, selection, and training and compensation of managers. When you say recruitment, it is about creating a pool of candidates so that you do not settle down with somebody just because you could not find the actual person whom you are looking for. That means the most apt candidate that you are wanting to hire. So staffing gives you an opportunity to find the best person for doing a job through recruitment. Then through selection, you make the choice among all the options available. You select the best candidate for yourself, your organization, and by justified compensation and regular training, you keep your staff competent, and that's how you also help in the retention of people so that they do not leave your organization and they continue being loyal to your organization, meanwhile maintaining their efficiency and being effective at their work. That's the task done by staffing function. When all these three functions are done, then we come to directing, where we learn that how directing is inclusive of four different elements. Children, this is where a manager guides and instructs his subordinates about the goals and help them to perform their roles to the best of their ability. And you must understand that for someone to be willing to do their work, or for someone to want to do their work, that person should be motivated enough to do that work. And it is a good leader who has that influence on his upon his team or on his subordinates, that he is capable of getting that work done from his subordinates. That means he can make them work in his own way, his desired way. That's the influence of a leader. And a leader has a good communication skill whereby he is able to, convey his desire, to convey his goals, his expectation to his team, because he is able to pass the understanding to his subordinates. Similarly, while doing all these things, he also supervises the work of his subordinates to ensure that they are working as per what is expected from them, to ensure that the manner the work is done is as expected or as desired. So directing is basically a combination of these four elements: leadership, communication, supervision, and motivation. Then comes the last function, that's controlling. Children, this is ideally referred as to the last function of management, but it is actually not the end of the functions of management, because as we heard, all these functions are ongoing. So they never stop. Somewhere, however, controlling comes at the end of the series, reason being, through controlling, a manager tries to ensure that everything is happening in conformation with the plans laid. Because planning would have no meaning unless you are able to ensure that you are achieving it. And if you are achieving it in the right time and with the minimum cost, then only you are a competent organization. Then only you are, fulfilling the meaning of the term management in the right sense. Because if you achieve something and by incurring more cost or by taking more time, the very essence of management is lost. That's why the last function of management is very crucial, because through controlling function, the management monitors the performance of people in the organization. Then it also tries to identify the activities which are critical to the success of the organization. That means, because if these activities go wrong, that may, hamper the performance of the business. So through controlling, it also keeps a check on the activities which are critical to the success of organization. That means the key activities, the key result areas. And it also gives authority to a manager to take a corrective action if there is any kind of deviation. If, like, you are falling short to comply with any plan, or you are running short of a performance, this is where, through controlling, you take the corrective action and you try to overcome the lacunas or the loopholes while you're performing a job. So altogether, these five functions make management a process, because with planning you decide what do you want to achieve and how we are going to do that. And with organizing, you try to assess the resources that you would need, and also create reporting relationships, and you also assign the responsibility and authority. Then through staffing, you man the organization. When you say man the organization, it means you fill the organization with proper human resource by finding the right person for the right job. Then with directing, you initiate action. That means you start implementing the goals that you set in planning function. So through directing, what do? You try to impart an efficient leadership with a very influential communication skill, where you are able to communicate with your subordinates and keep them motivated by making them want to work. And as you are an amazing leader, you would be able to get the work done in the way that you are wanting. That means you have that influence on your team, and you also supervise the work of your team to ensure that what they are doing is they are doing as per the expectations or as per the process. And through controlling, you measure the performance. How? By comparing the actual performance with the standard performance the standard that you set in planning. And when you do measure the performance, what do you do after measuring the performance? You try to analyze whether we are doing as per expected or as per planning or not. And if we are not able to do as per planning, this is the time when you as a manager take the corrective action to remove the errors from the performance, or to remove the reasons because of which your performance is not going as per planning. And through that corrective action, you ensure that you are able to achieve your goal as per planning, and you try to make your performance completely in conformation with the plans that you have made. This is why these functions of management play a crucial role and give a meaning to the definition of management when it is called a process. To begin with, children, just have a look on this picture. What do you see? You see that there's a triangle, and the triangle has the base as lower level, above which is the middle level, and on the top is the top level. There are certain terms also written, like top level is signified with framing plans and policies, middle level is signified with interpretation of plans, and lower level is signified with execution and implementation of plans. Children, as of now, you must be aware that management is a universal term, and it is used for certain functions performed by individuals in an enterprise who are bound together in a hierarchy of relationships. When you say hierarchy of relationship, what do we mean? We do understand that every individual has certain responsibility, certain task assigned to him for which he is responsible. And when he performs that task, he contributes towards the achievement of organizational goal. All right. So he is assigned a certain amount of authority also. This authority is nothing but the right to take a decision. So when an individual has certain right to take any decision depending on the responsibility that he holds in the organization, these factors determine various levels of management, which means different categories of managers, the lowest to the highest on the basis of their relative responsibilities, authority, and status, are present in the management, which are primarily the top level, which is involved in framing the policies and plans. That means that's involved in the intellectual function. Then comes the middle level, which is involved in the interpretation of plans and which works as a link between the top level and the lower level. It takes instructions from the top level and guides lower level about whatever plans they happen to receive from the top level, and make the lower level understand those plans so that lower level can execute the work, because the job of lower level is the execution and implementation of the plans. We also notice the words like responsibility and accountability and authority. We just understood that authority is the right to take decision. Similarly, responsibility is the obligation to perform a task. Say, if you can see this picture, lower level has responsibility to fulfill the duties given to them from the middle level, and they are accountable for the job that they're doing. Meanwhile, middle level is also accountable for ensuring that the lower level is executing the task as per the plans. Top level is responsible for ensuring that they make the right plans and they develop the right policies which contribute towards the development and success of the organization. This is how the levels of management contribute towards the effective and efficient achievement of organizational goal. Now, speaking of these three levels in particular, let me take you to the next slide. Let's now talk about top level management or corporate level. If you talk about the positions which are a part of top level management, they're basically chairman, board of directors, chief executive officers or CEO, president, vice president. These people are a part of the top level management of an organization because they're involved in crucial functions like to determine the objectives for the whole organization. And we know the objectives are the end results that the management desires to achieve. So, while determining the objectives of the organization, this top level management do also assess the resources available and also assess about the resources required for the business. Apart from that, they are also the one who scan the activities happening outside their business. That means be it a social factor or any technological change happening outside their business or any political change which is influencing the business performance. All these factors which are beyond the control of a business and which create the business environment are analyzed, and its implication is also analyzed by the top level management so that it can look for the best way to face the change happening outside. Either they can come up with a new way to face the change, or they can upgrade themselves to accommodate themselves with the changes happening outside, and this is taken care of by top level of management. So the top level is primarily involved in an intellectual activity. Coming on to the middle level or the departmental level, it comprises of departmental managers. That means as in any organization, if there are various departments created, on the basis of the nature of jobs done. That means similar jobs are uh, consolidated in the form of a department, and then departmental managers manage the job of the entire department. So middle level management would entail to people who are heading these departments. So that's why it comprises of departmental managers or divisional heads. Say for example, if it is accounts department, or it is finance division, or it is the sales department, or it is the production division, the heads of these departments and divisions will form the middle level management in the hierarchy of an organization. Coming on to the functions, what they are into, the middle level management basically carry out the plans formulated by the top management. They interpret and explain the policy of the top level to the lower level. Children, middle level management, as already said in the previous slide where you saw the triangle, works as a link between the top level and the lower level management. So what do? Whatever policy the top level management makes, they interpret it, they try to comprehend it, and make the lower level understand that what the lower level is supposed to do to ensure that the policy is implemented. Another important job that they do is they assign duties and responsibilities to different lower level managers. As we know that there are different departments based on the nature of similar jobs performed by them, but there are different departments, so there are different lower level managers as well. And so what do middle level management do? They assign duties and responsibilities to different lower level managers. Apart from this, they also ensure that their departments has necessary personnel, which means that whatever manpower is required is available, and if it is not, they ensure that the right jobs are created and they are duly filled. Meantime, middle level managements also do a very important job, that is to keep the lower level motivated so that they work towards the achievement of the objective, and each department cooperate with the other department to ensure that the functions of each department keeps on going smoothly without affecting the function of any other department. Children, we've already understood that each function is related to the other function. So is the work of each department related to the work of other department. So here the middle level management plays the key role of ensuring cooperation among all the other departments, and at the same time they are responsible for all the actions the, fir- the first line managers are taking. When you come to lower level managers, which is also popularly known as the first line managers or the supervisory level or the operational level. Children, this is to be noted here because you must not get confused if there is any question which is using any of these terms, because they all mean the same. And so I repeat, whether it is the first line managers or the supervisory level or the operational level, they are all talking about the lower level of the management. And in terms of positions, it would consist of foreman, supervisor, clerk, assistants, and superintendents. These are the people who play a key role because they are in the direct touch of the workforce. Means they come in the direct contact of the workforce. So through their efforts, quality of output is maintained, wastage of materials is minimized, safety standards are maintained. How? Because these lower level managers ensure that the quality of output is maintained by ensuring that the workman is working in accordance to the discipline, maintaining loyalty, and is a hard worker so that the quality and quantity remains up to the mark. When you talk about the functions performed by the operational management, they ensure proper working condition, because to ensure a good output from your workers, you have to at least provide them the proper working condition, so that these petty things like lighting facility, ventilation, or washroom facilities, they should not hamper their efficiency and effectiveness. Moreover, they should not, cost hamper the time frame as well. Secondly, they ensure the adequate safety measures for their workforce. When you ensure that there's enough safety measures available, you develop a healthy environment to work, because the worker is confident while working that if anything goes wrong, my team is there, my management is there to take care of me, and things will be taken care of. So when you have this security in your mind that things are well in control of my management, you feel free to give 100% of your effort. And that's the job of the lower level management. With that, children, let's discuss the overall levels of management. Coming on to the top level managers, which says that they are into setting objectives. That means what the organization wants to achieve is being set by the top level managers. While doing that, they do also consider the changes happening outside the business, which are the various changes in terms of political scenario of the country, or the social trends which are changing in the society, or the economical factors which are changing. So they scan the environment outside, and in accordance to that, they develop plan and make decisions for the better good of the organization. When they make plan and make decisions in consideration of all these environmental factors, they pass it on to the middle level managers. And while making these plans and taking these decisions, the top level managers are responsible for the welfare and survival of the organization. They formulate the overall goals and strategies to ensure that these objectives are achieved. So when they plan, the plan is conveyed to the middle level managers. To keep it simple, the first two things that you should note, that as middle level managers work as the link between the top level managers and the first level managers, the middle level managers firstly have the responsibility to report to the top management. Secondly, they have the authority to oversee the first line managers, that what they are doing is in adherence to the process of the plan as suggested. Then this is the role of the middle level managers only, that they develop activities to ensure that the plans are implemented. They also allocate resources. When we talk about resources, it also entails to proper manpower. So they ensure that there is enough personnel available in all the departments. And while doing so, they also ensure cooperation and good working conditions for all. Then first line managers are the one who primarily report to the middle managers. They have to, as they work in direct contact with the workforce, they do supervise these employees. They have to coordinate the activities of these employees, and they're involved in day-to-day operations, because their authority and responsibility is limited according to the plan drawn by the top manager. But the role played by these lower level managers, or the first line managers, or better to say supervisory level management, is quite crucial, because they have the job to keep the workers motivated so that the quality of output is maintained. And it is only possible when your workforce is motivated and disciplined, that you are able to achieve the target effectively and efficiently. When again I repeat, when you say effectively and efficiently, you do highlight the minimum cost and the achievement of goal within the time frame. So it is also the responsibility of the first line managers to ensure that the safety standards are maintained, because it is only when you do something for your workers that the workers will also respond to you in the same manner, by being loyal to you, by being disciplined, by ensuring that whatever the duties assigned to them, they are complying the duties as expected. With that, you understand that levels of management not only create the hierarchy by creating authority responsibility relationship, it ideally divides the management job in three different possible levels, which entails to top level, middle level, and the first line managers. Top level is concerned with developing plans and making decisions. Middle level works as a link between the top level and the first line level managers, and they convey the plans made by top level to the first line managers, and it is the first line managers who execute the job on the ground because they are the one who ensure that the work is done by the workforce.